Hey guys, this is Michael Pizzulo. I'm a psychotherapist here in West Hollywood. I want to talk to you about one of the questions I get quite a lot when it comes to trauma therapy, which is how do I do trauma therapy if I can't remember what happened to me? So, a lot of people have either some sort of awareness that some traumatic event happened to them, whether someone told them, they heard from somewhere else, or they have spotty memory or clues that something may have happened. And a lot of those folks come into therapy really eager to work on themselves, but they feel like, if I can't remember what happened, how am I gonna, work on this? And I'm here to tell you that you absolutely can do trauma therapy even if you do not have a clear narrative of the event itself. So just to back up, our memories are incredibly unreliable anyway. Even if someone is 100% certain that they remember everything that's happened to them, we're often wrong. We see this a lot in courtroom testimonies, and even often sometimes when you get together with your family, you're recounting a story and you're sure that you know it correctly, and then it come to find out an hour into it, after some back and forth, you realize that actually you're wrong. So we already know that even when we're sure we have all the details, often we're wrong. So again, if you don't know, it's okay, because even if you think you do know, you may be wrong anyway. Next thing is that the trauma therapy is often about how am I going to feel better in the present moment, and how am I going to regulate myself today and deal with the post-traumatic effects. So for example, if I'm dealing with some sort of emotional dysregulation, anxiety, depression, if I'm self-medicating, if I've got some self-confidence issues, injuries to my self-esteem, these are all things that you deal with using different techniques, like whether it's cognitive behavioral therapy or internal family systems, that really have nothing to do with rehashing the event itself, and they have to do with focusing on how you are now. That really is what the trauma therapy is going to be about anyway. It's going to be focusing on your current state and getting you back to a state of, homeostasis, balance, healing, something along those lines. So again, the bulk of the work is going to be focused on how you are doing today rather than how you were at the time this happened. And the last thing that I think this is so important is that remembering is not recovering. I think we often see in movies, people go to therapy and then they'll finally remember an important detail that connects the dots, and somehow that means that they're fixed. And that's not the case. Even if you can connect the dots between this happened to me and that's why I'm feeling this way now. For example, I was in a car accident when I was a kid and I have a lot of anxiety as an adult, and somehow you put those two together. That in no way helps you deal with the anxiety or learn to self-regulate. It just gives you a story. And don't get me wrong, having a narrative and having a story can be therapeutic in and of itself. It gives you an understanding. It can be frustrating when there's a mystery around what you're going through, but the story itself is not what heals you. So just keep that in mind. And I also would keep in mind to folks as well that if you're going to therapy and you don't have a lot of information, that's fine. Just start with what you have and trust the process too. I think that most people find that as they go along, more is revealed, and just, have faith in the consistency of the work and see what comes of it. And really trust that if you're supposed to remember something, you will. And if you don't, that's okay too, because again, it's not essential for you to get better. So I hope this was helpful. If you're struggling with trauma, don't hesitate to reach out for help. I'm happy to give you resources, and curious to hear from other people if they've gone to therapy and with, some spotty memory around things, and how they were able to get through that. So thanks, guys.